Hello again everyone, and welcome back to Sparrows Homestead. This is going to be the next allotment video that you guys see. I haven't been able to come over here for quite some time because of the operation that I had on my foot, but now I'm back and I'm determined to make some really good progress today. I've got a really long list, so I came over the other day just to check to see how things were kind of doing. I realised that I've just got 1,000,001 jobs to do and that I haven't made as much progress with the allotment this year as I really wanted to. So I'm here today with my really long list. I'll put it somewhere. There should be a space on screen where I can put a graphic up with my list of things that I want to do today. I know that I definitely want to finish off creating the wood chip paths and to wood chip this whole area where I've got a little table and chair as well. Just, you know, some really old, knackered, broken table and chairs, but this is where they are. So I want to get that covered in wood chips so that I can attempt at some point, probably next year, to sort of level things out and create a proper little seating area. I've just been and had a chat with one of my other allotmenteers, and he's told me about someone who can come and build me a storage unit and come and build me a shed or put a shed up for me. So they are definitely on the cards for next year because we talked about prices and things, and actually this person can come and do stuff for me for not as much money as I was thinking. So I've got some ideas for next year too. First thing I'm going to go and do is prune the rose bush. Then I'm going to get cracked on with, I don't know if you can see, all of this grass that's behind my shoulder. I'm going to get that cut down and then lay down the weed suppressing membrane and cover it in wood chip. So let me spin you around and show you what I'm talking about. Now it's really noisy and I haven't got around to plugging in my microphone yet. I'm near a train station, so you can hear trains moving about in the background. Hopefully you can still hear me though. So this is the rose bush. It's just been left completely. I haven't been coming over and deadheading it. So all of that needs to be pruned back. And then the other thing I'll probably do while I've got my secateurs out is harvest all the lavender. It's got a little bit damp because we have had some rain, finally had some rain, but yeah, gonna harvest all of that. And then as you can see over in that kind of bucket area over there, there's another lot. So I will get pruning. Let's get that one kind of job under our belts, and then I will be back to come and trim all of this up and create a path down here and another bed at this end. Look at how much lavender I've got. That's just from one of the bushes. I mean, it's an absolute ton. And then if you come over here, I've got this one to do as well. I mean, I can't believe it. I'm really sorry about the wind. I will plug my microphone in at some point soon. So I knit and crochet, mainly crochet, and I was going to do myself some little lavender bags, but I think I've got too much lavender to do that with. So I'm trying to think of what else can I make with it. I know you can pop little bits of lavender on like lavender biscuits and things. I don't know if that's dried or fresh. Yeah, so if you can think of anything else I can do with all of this lavender, because I don't want to waste it, then let me know in the comments please, because I'm just blown away by how much of the stuff there is. Let me show you the rose bush that's been pruned. So it's had a pretty severe prune, and that's because I had, and still have got to an extent, I need to get in there a little bit more, some like crossing branches and things in the middle, and I wanted to increase the airflow. Oh, there's a bit that I've missed there with a rose hip on. Anyway, I did quite a severe haircut on it, and then this is how the lavender looks now as well. Again, there's a few little straggly bits that are left here that need to come off. And then with the lavender, I've just very lightly trimmed the top. I might shape it a tiny bit more, but what's really important is that I don't cut into all of this dead wood, because lavender doesn't successfully grow back from woody stems, not very easily anyway. I've just spotted over here, so if you've been watching my videos my container veg garden video, possibly other videos, I don't know, I've been complaining about how all of my beans this year haven't produced beans. So they haven't set fruit, they've been pollinated, and then the flowers have just dropped off. And I think, and I'm now even more certain, it's because of the heat, because look at what's happening on these ones now. I've got all these beans forming, like so many of them. It's just amazing. And these plants as well, I mean, God bless them, they've been scrambling along the ground because I just don't have the bamboo canes, and I haven't got around to ordering any more. I found these, like a couple of metal bits, and I've kind of wound them around those a bit, but basically these runner beans have been scrambling all over the floor, and they're still producing some beans for me. I mean, I can't believe it. There's beetroot in there as well, look. There's some beetroot, oh my gosh. How is that doing? Let's have a look. I'm going in. Oh, it's looking very fresh and healthy. And there's definitely a root forming on that one. I think it might be a little bit overcrowded. Now beetroot will push each other aside, and they can be a little bit more crowded than perhaps some other things in the garden should be. But that might be a bit too crowded. I might have to thin that out slightly. And then let's have a look over here. I've got, so these are dwarf French beans. They're getting a little bit overrun with the, oh, runner beans. I might pick that and have that as a snack. That one's a nice snacking size, we'll have you. Here we are, snacks. Delicious. Anyway, in amongst here, oh, somebody's been eating them. I'm flipping, as soon as you get rain, there's a problem with snails at the allotment. More snails than slugs. And they've had a right old chomp on that one. But these ones are looking okay, look at this. Fantastic. Love it. And then now I'm going to cut all of these powdery mildewy leaves off. Well, I think this plant, I'm talking with a mouthful but you can't see me, it's going to kick the bucket, and I've got a marrow growing there. I've got the one marrow, mind you. So yeah, we'll give that a little bit of a trim. The rhubarb that I thought I'd dug out has just come back looking really healthy, which is annoying. I do have another rhubarb crown on the allotment. I ended up with just so many of them. Right, this has pretty much kicked the bucket, hasn't it? I reckon. I don't know. I'll trim those chilies off, and I'll trim it up and see if I can get anything else off it this year. There's a few little stray beetroot under there. There's some basil that's nearly died. This chili plant is producing something. What have we got? 2 or 3 chilies on there? 4? Oh, 5. Okay, that's not looking too bad. Those of you that live in a much hotter climate than the UK are probably looking at that chili plant thinking, oh my god, it's like as big as 2 fists and that's it. But that's still pretty decent for here, I have to say. And then we've got some Swiss chard, which again is looking a little bit overcrowded, so I will thin out these seedlings and create a much better row of that. And then some lovely bindweed growing around my beetroot. That'll still come back, even though you pull out a load of the weeds, it'll still come back. You kind of, with this type, well, with any type of bindweed, and with most weeds to be fair, if you just keep picking it, pulling it out, take as much root as you can, just slows the regrowth down. And then what you do is you stop it from being able to photosynthesize properly, and then it grows back a lot slower. Look, I've got this collapsing tomato here, hasn't got any fruit on it. I think that's a bit of a disaster really, like so many things are. But I have got, again, some beetroot that I think probably needs thinning out, but I've got beetroot, chilies, bit of chard growing. All is not completely lost, right? All is not completely lost. I've got some very leggy bit of bits of basil there. That might self-seed. I might get some basil here next year, which would be great. Oh, some other chilli. Malformed, I'm gonna say. That's not the healthiest to plant. It looks all right, but something's gone wrong there. Right, let's check out a few other things and see what's happened. So yeah, so the last time I was here checking on things, like all the courgettes had died in my absence because they had all got this powdery mildew, and you can see it on them still. So there's a mixture of courgettes and marrows and things in here. So I've cut them all back thinking they might regrow, they might be okay. I've noticed that I think that one and that one have done that, and I will just still trim away some of the rubbish leaves that have got the powdery mildew, but they look, I might still get something out of them. That one's dead, that one's pretty dead, there's one flower on it. This one I might get into and cut back right in the middle. I've got some spring onions that have survived that you can see over there, and then I've also got some radishes and things. Bye! That's just one of my plot neighbours leaving. I've got some radishes along here. They're not really coming to anything much, but I can always leave those and let them go to seed, and then I can have the seed pods, which are really tasty. There's a few weeds coming up. I think there's some seeds coming up along there. I basically filled all of the gaps that I could with things like radishes and beetroot, and just did what I could. There's a patch of beetroot over there. I mean, it's just very, oh, there's beans as well. Some more dwarf French beans in this section. So I reckon, I don't know about you, but I reckon if I give this bed a bit of a weed, take out the courgettes that have definitely had it, see what space I've got, and then I reckon I can sow some either quick growing autumn crops or something that's going to kind of grow and give me something in early spring into those gaps. But I want to do my paths first though, so we'll have that as a maybe. And then along here there's some beetroot that's come up. Again, these are all things that I either sowed quite a long time ago and have only just started coming up. I mean, I think I filmed this. These were the seeds for the yellow beetroot that I found in like the community shed at the allotment. And yeah, they've only just started coming up. Oh, you can see that my tennis ball sized cabbages are now starting to go to seed, so I do need to grab those. And I say harvest, so they're just rubbish, but I will still be able to eat them if I catch them today. And then I've got tomatoes here. I think that one's possibly got a bit of blight, I'm not sure. It's looking a bit like it to me. They were just spare tomato plants that I chucked out that I had left over at home, and I harvested, I don't know, I think about 2 or 3 from this plant. There's another one on there. And I mean, these ones just haven't really done anything. They're not healthy plants now, are they? I think they've got blight, so I'll whip those out as well. And then I've got a little space along the edge here that I can sow some autumn seeds into as well. So whew, goodness me, so much to do, and it's really hot today as well. But yeah, my next job is just going to be to harvest the rest of that lavender, because I don't want to waste it, but I do need some ideas about what to do with it. So as you can tell from my very red, sweaty face, we've now hit, I think it's about 12:30, 1 o'clock, something like that. We're in the middle of the day, the sun is at its hottest. I'm starting to flag a bit, quite a lot. And I don't have a shed that I can sort of go and hide in this heat. So I think what I'm gonna do is, I'll show you what I've done. I'm going to gather up the lavender that I have harvested and take that home with me. I think I'm going to come back again tomorrow morning. Yeah, just finish off some of the things that I've started, but let me show you what they are first of all. So one of the things that I have done is I've kind of extended this, or what's going to be the path, right up here, and then this bed needs extending so that it is level with the other bed over there. And I've been digging along here. I've dug up a concrete slab, I think a lump of granite, that looks like to me, and I think I've got another lump of it there that was sort of buried underneath all of this grass. You can see that I've started to cut back the grass as well. So plan is, I think when I'm gonna harvest the cucumbers, the cabbages before I go, and then tomorrow I'm going to finish digging this out properly so that I've got this long middle bed finished, and I'll get the wood chip onto this path. If I've got time, I will start working on sort of cutting down the remainder of this grass here, and then we can see what space we've got for a third parallel bed down this side. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm gonna go and harvest some cabbages, and I'll see you back here again tomorrow. Good morning everyone, we are back at the allotment and I'm feeling really excited to tell you the truth. I'm feeling really excited, not because I got loads done yesterday. There's three reasons why I'm excited. The first reason is I am trying out something a bit different. Instead of coming over say once a week and doing 2 or 3 hours tops on the allotment, let's face it, I mean there have been some other reasons, but let's face it, I haven't made a huge amount of progress this year. Some, but not loads, not as much as I expected. So instead of doing that, I'm going to try and come over for an hour to possibly 2 hours every day in the morning. So I'm self-employed, and I just think that that's going to be a really great way of starting my day and, you know, kind of keeping my physical and mental health in check and all of that good stuff. So we're trying that out this week. So I'm back again. So yesterday was Monday, today is Tuesday. I'm here a lot earlier because what I found yesterday was it might be the middle of September in the UK, but we're still getting really, really hot over midday and in the afternoon, at least in East Anglia where I live. So I'm here a lot earlier. Okay, so I had to stop recording. You might be able to hear that in the background. The local council are going around in a very noisy vehicle and they are just tending to some of the freshly planted trees that are nearby. Anyway, I'm back now. Where did I get to though? I think I mentioned coming here every day, didn't I? Second reason that I'm feeling kind of buoyant and excited today is that I really think that by the end of the week, this next stage will be done. I will have all of my paths finished and I'll certainly have this middle bed extended backwards and finished, and I'll probably be at the stage where I'm working on this third bed that's actually here to my left. That will be an achievement because that will be the main almost like layout of the plot sorted, and I'll just be tweaking things and sorting out like little bits tucked out the back and the sides and under the trees and stuff. I'll be sorting out those little bits and pieces just in, you know, small stages, but my main growing beds will be sorted hopefully by the end of this month, and a lot of it by the end of this week. So that's fantastic. Feeling buoyant about that. And then the third reason why I'm feeling excited is that I finally decided, like completely decided, I think, what I'm going to do with this channel. So I realised that there are, I think, 5 things that I'm going to be making videos about. The first one is obviously the allotment, so allotment gardening. The second one, cottage gardening. Basically my back garden is in a semi-cottage style, and I kind of want to increase the cottaginess of it, so that will be a second kind of strand. Third strand will be container gardening, because that's something that I've done for years, and I think that lots and lots of people have only got small spaces to garden in, and it'd be really nice to at least show people what I do and then maybe offer some hints and tips and advice. I'm not convinced I get it right a lot of the time, but that would still be a really nice strand to have. Oh, it's 4, not 5. I've just realised. My fourth one then is I'd love to do like a homestead kitchen style playlist of videos where I'm cooking with the produce that I've grown, I'm batch cooking, things like that, that I think again will hopefully be helpful during the cost of living crisis, if nothing else, and then hopefully interesting to people who want the kind of lifestyle where you are doing that at least some of the time. So yeah, I feel really clear about the allotment and I feel really clear about the channel. So that's enough chat for me. I'm going to get on with some stuff. You're probably going to be able to watch me from where you are, I think. Just behind me here is where I'm going to extend this middle bed out, and it's also where there was a bloody great anthill that I think I've sort of disturbed enough now that they've all scurried away, and there's plenty of other anthills that they're all probably living in now. But I'm going to get on with some digging and then I'll show you what I've done, and I'll come back and talk to you about my next job after that. Let me show you more closely what I'm working on. So this section here, let me show you. So we've got the bit of path coming down here, bed to the left and then bed to the right. So far it extends to about here. And then this is the grassy bit that I need to dig up. I mean, this is the state of it. I mean, I have actually dug some of these areas over, but all I'm pulling out is a load of like dried grass root. There's not very much soil yet. So I'm just going to keep going over this until I kind of hit the like the soil bed proper. And then I'll dig it over with a hand trowel, and then I should be able to start sowing some autumn seeds into this area. What I might also do today is go and get the wood chip for the path that's going to run along here. It's a bit wonky, it's a little bit kind of all over the place, but once it gets the weight of the wood chip on it, it will be okay. Probably what I'll end up doing next year is lifting all of the weed suppressing membrane. I've mentioned this before in videos. It does trap a lot of slugs and snails underneath it. It's not the best thing in the world to have in an allotment that's already kind of riddled with snails, but it will keep the grass down and it will let the path get established, and then I can take it away. So yeah, I'm just going to get on with some more digging, guys, and I'll be back in a minute. So I've got this far, but it almost looks like I haven't really done anything much. I mean, does it look any different? I've stopped working in this area because I noticed there were about half a dozen wasps suddenly sprang up out of nowhere, and the same thing happened yesterday. I don't know if it's the increase in temperature or whether there is a nest or something nearby. So I'm fine with wasps in general, but I'm a little bit wary when suddenly a lot of them appear all at once. So yeah, so I kind of stopped what I'm doing in this area for the moment. This here is just a big old pile of dead grass and dead root. I've sort of started to dig this over a bit better. I've almost finished along the edge there, but I don't know if you can see them flying around, but that's where a lot of the wasps have decided that they're interested in that particular area. You can see that I've got about another 2.5–3 foot to go in order to finish this bed, so hopefully that's what I will come and do tomorrow, and then dig it over with a hand trowel and get some seeds in as quickly as possible. Even though the soil is just so poor, I think I need to just start growing stuff in there straight away, get it covered in seedlings, plants, ASAP, and then I can improve the soil over the next 12 months. So yeah, tiny bit of progress, but we are getting there, folk. Before I leave, I thought I'd show you what has happened to the flower patch that I had at the front here. This was the first thing that I created in that very first allotment video of this year, and yeah, it's been a real mixed bag. You can see I've got lots of lovely cosmos left that's still flowering. This is meant to be mammoth dill. I mean, it's not looking particularly mammoth if you ask me, but what I've been, some borage there as well, which is lovely to have. And I think a zinnia, there's a few more marigolds, there's a few California poppies that have come up over there as well. But yeah, so what I did, I found that I had an abundance of the Phacelia, it was too much, and I hadn't thinned out the seedlings because I wasn't entirely sure what everything was until it got a bit bigger. What I've done though is everything that's died off, I've chopped and dropped, and you can see that down here. You can see it's covered in all the sort of dead and dried debris. I've left the roots in for most things because that again is going to help to condition the soil and also make it a really great texture. And I also made sure that I shook all of the seed heads. You might have seen me do it in a video, but shook all of the seed heads all over this bed. So there's already lots of tiny little seedlings coming up. So all I'm doing at the moment is the same thing, sprinkling any seed heads and seed pods out. I'm plucking out the odd weed here and there. Those dock leaves and dandelions, you know, they do like to keep coming back. So what I should end up with then is a really big rectangle here that becomes my cut flower bed. It will also help to pollinate the rest of the allotment as well. And as well as the self-seeding annuals, I want to grow some perennials as well. In fact, it might be that it's more perennials at this end, more the annuals at that end, or I might mix them up. I don't really know how it's going to play out yet. And then I'll obviously have bed number 1, bed number 2 that I'm working on at the moment, and then bed number 3 at that end. So I've got 3 parallel veg beds. That's the plan anyway. And hopefully all of those beds will be established by the end of this year. So it's a question of planting them up, sowing them up, maintaining them, and then next year's projects are going to be storage. It's going to be investigating fully what's at the back there under the cherry tree, and potentially taking down that pampas grass. It's huge, it's really sharp, it kind of slices into your skin if you walk too close to it. It's not very nice at all. I know that the top parts of pampas now, because dried flowers have come back into sort of fashion again, they are trendy again. I know that they're sought after and can be expensive to buy, but even so, I mean, the house that I grew up in had quite a few pampas grasses, and they're horrible. I don't like them. They're mean to me, they scratch me. I also need to sort out a proper compost bin, or maybe a couple of compost bins over there next year as well. The pears on it, when they grow, there aren't any this year, or there were some I think, but they dropped off. They're not great, I don't love them. I'm sorely tempted to actually take that tree out and create another little square bed there, or replace it with a tree that bears fruit that I actually like. But yeah, anyway, I'm off and I'll be back again tomorrow. And I think because we're hitting a bit of a dry spell again, I'm gonna have to get out here and get watering. But that's for tomorrow, so I'll see you again soon. Well, good morning everyone. It is Wednesday morning now. I think it's about 10:30 at the moment. I've been here for just over half an hour and I'm still sticking with this sort of new idea of coming over every single morning for at least an hour, just to get stuff done, see if I can make a bit more progress in a week than when I come over for 2 or 3 hours at the end of the week, which is what I was doing a while back. So I have, like I said, been here for a while already, and what I decided to do this time was, rather than pick up the camera and have a little chit chat before I start, to actually get cracked on and then stop and show you what I've done. So I'm going to show you what I've done, and this is the progress. So again, I sort of feel like I've been working really hard and I'm not even sure how much of a difference there is. I think it's more noticeable today than yesterday. This is the section at the end of the middle bed that I have managed to just about dig over. I still need to go over it with a trowel. I don't have a rake, otherwise I would rake it, just to kind of get rid of some of the debris in there, to break down some of the larger chunks of soil that are in that bed. And then what I'd really like to do by the end of the week is to get that sown full of autumn/winter crops. Then the other thing that I've done as well is, with all the scraps and bits and pieces of weed suppressing membrane that I've got, I've just sort of laid out where I want the next lot of wood chip to go. Some of the weed suppressing membrane is just a single layer, so I'm going to make sure that I put the wood chip down really thickly on there. And what I'd really like to do is to go over and add some extra wood chip to the existing paths. Again, I could do with a rake, because that's probably what it needs more than anything else, is just sort of straightening out a bit. But it does all get flattened down. You do find that some of it sinks into dips and things, and you might need a little bit more in certain places. So my next job is to just start wheeling some barrow loads of wood chip over here and get it all onto these paths. I've got, like I said, about half an hour of that hour left. I'm not going to stick to it sort of rigidly, but I want to make sure that I am spending at least an hour here every time I come over, and not fooling myself into thinking, just because I'm a bit hot and sweaty, that I've done an hour's work when actually I haven't. Just to say, I think that's what happens sometimes. I come over here and I feel like I've done quite a lot, and well, not a lot as in have achieved very much, but I feel like I've worked really hard just because I've got a little bit kind of hot and bothered, when actually it's just that I'm unfit and I need to do a bit more exercise. So this should be good for me in lots of different ways. And it certainly sort of, I don't know, gets your heart pumping, gets the day going. So I'm off to get some wood chip. Right, so at the end here I've put another barrow load on, which has kind of done that bit. The barrow load hasn't gone very far because I am just spreading it really thickly across that back bit where the table's going to go, the 2 little chairs. I need to buy some new chairs because the chairs I've got, the wooden one is pretty rotten now. Wait for the noisy train to go past. There we are. So I've done that bit there, and then I reckon I'm going to need at least 1 more barrow load in that corner, maybe 2 barrow loads, just to kind of finish that whole corner off, and to go over some of these existing paths and just thicken them up a bit and even them up. I also brought a barrow load over and kind of started to go down this skinny path at the side here as well. So tomorrow when I'm up here, the plan is to finish that corner, to go over the end of this bed. So I'm going to weed the existing bed, trim back this courgette here or marrow, dig over that end bit, create a much finer tilth, sow some autumn seeds, get those watered in, and just try and sort of create something out of this centre bed. So I will see you back again on Thursday. Well, happy Thursday morning everyone, and I'm back again, and it's been a good week so far. I have enjoyed being here every day, and what I have decided to do though is I'm going to finish it today for this week, just because I'm out quite early tomorrow, Friday, and probably won't get back until the afternoon. And then in the afternoon I'll have some bits and pieces of work to do and some housework and stuff like that. So I will finish it today for this week, but next week I don't see why I can't come back every single day again and do an hour. I've been to get another barrow of wood chipping so that I can hopefully finish the new section of path and get that sorted. Yeah, so I'll do a little bit of that and then I will show you what it all looks like. Well, I've sort of finished it, I think. I have dug it over with a small hand trowel and I've shifted some of the soil up onto this patch that was just bare cardboard. There's still a little section here left that needs covering, but I think once I've broken down some of the big kind of clods of earth that are still in the bed, I think I'll be able to spread those over it and make things even. Definitely need another barrow full of wood chip just to sort of fill in the gaps on the existing path where it's all kind of shifted about, it's all flattened, it's all got nicely settled, but you can see it could do with another thin layer, and I could do with like a blob of it there, a pile of it there to spread out, just to make sure that the paths join up properly at that little like intersection that there is. I'm actually quite pleased. I think this looks different. I need to remind myself of how this looks at the beginning of the week. I might try and find a picture. I'm really rubbish at taking before and after photos and stuff like that. But the final thing that I want to do today before I go home is to sow some autumn seeds into that patch at the end. So I'm going to go and have a look at what I've got, and then I think we need a bit of a plan for next week, because I am going to come back again next week and do this. As long as it's not, you know, peeing it down with rain in the morning, I will come over for an hour every day. So I think I need to sort out existing beds. Everything needs a weed, gaps need filling. I will sort the paths out as well with that extra barrow full of wood chip. I'm thinking out loud, this is why there's so many pauses, I'll have to edit them out. I think also I need to trim off, I might do that before I go today actually, is just trim off some more of the courgette leaves that have got the powdery mildew on them. I'm not sure that they're going to produce anything, but there are some flowers, so I'd rather give them the opportunity to produce something. And then I'm torn between either trying to sort out the third bed there, so cut the grass down, dig that over, create my third veg bed, or to actually come back over here and sort out the job that I still haven't got around to doing, which is to actually dig this bed here that's got the roses and the lavender in it and make yet another attempt at digging that thing out. I kind of want to finish this area, and then I did talk about lifting up this path and sort of turning this into one big bed. Do you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I might trim the rest of the grass down, but I don't think I'm going to dig the third veg bed up. I'm going to sort out this corner here because I've got this lovely patch here with the cosmos in. That's all sort of self-seeded, that's looking fantastic. It's had the mushroom compost on it. Really pleased with that. That's going to come up beautifully next year. And yeah, so next week, sort the paths out, give the veg beds a weed, and then really get stuck into this section here and create this big cut flower bed at the front. And then the following week can be the week where I come over here and create my third parallel bed for some more vegetables. That's what we'll do. Right, let's go and see what seeds I've got. I'll take you with me and we'll have a rummage, and we're just going to try and see if I've got anything that's suitable for autumn sowing. I know there's some stuff in here, so okay, I don't know what's, that's empty. I've obviously sown those somewhere. So I've got some white radishes growing somewhere. Lettuce moon red, I think is that empty? No, that's got a few in there. That might be a bit late for it though. However, somewhere, and I don't know if it's in here. Right, I'm gonna have to put my phone down. I need to have a good old rummage. I'll show you what I find in a minute. Okay, so this is everything that I found. This was the packet that I was looking for, that I knew I had. So Arctic King sow August to September direct into sowing site. So we're going to put quite a lot of that in. Well, there's 1,400 seeds. We're probably not going to put that many in, but we will put quite a few of those in. I have a feeling the snails will like them and we might have to keep replacing them. I pulled out this packet of Swiss chard. I don't know if I'm going to sow any more of that here, because that's a row of it there. And what I'm probably going to do instead is thin those out and put the thinnings along here to form a full row of it. But what I might do is I want to do a video that's about an autumn container garden of some sort, she says. I'm not quite sure, but I will be planting up my pots for autumn, so yeah, I may as well make a video about it. I'm getting into the swing of making videos now. I've also picked out this cabbage Durham early that says sow July to August. What I'm thinking with that is that we've had quite a warm September so far, and that maybe I could get away with sowing that now, sort of mid-September. I've also pulled out a couple of packets of kale. Now this is not necessarily grow a full sort of plant of kale, but to actually use it as just baby leaves that come through. I've got 2 or 3 packets of these that have come free with magazines, or that have come as freebies with other seeds that I bought, and this is quite an old packet as well, so I'm thinking just chuck those in and see if I can get a few leaves to eat. These here, it says sow September to November to overwinter crops. These are Desiree dwarf purple peas, so they are a definite. I've found what's left. I think these are the only radish seeds I've got left now. Again, I don't know if that's an old packet or not. It feels like it might be, but I thought I'd chuck those in. And then I grew these North Holland blood red spring onions over winter last year, and they came up really nicely in spring. That was in tubs as well, so I might put half of what's left into the allotment just now, and then the other half into pots at home. I'm gonna get on with doing that, and then I will show you when I'm done. There we are. How about some footage of me actually doing the sowing? Well, that cut off rather abruptly because I forgot to film any kind of outro at the allotment, and I've now just got to the end of editing what you've just seen and realised that it just stopped dead without a by your leave, and off I went home and completely forgot that I was making a video. So yeah, I don't know why I'm trying to tidy up this blanket while I'm sat here. That's a bit pointless really. I'm not gonna chit chat for long because there's roadworks outside my house, and they're pretty loud, to be honest. They're disturbing my peace, but you know, I'm sure they have a good reason for being out there. I just wanted to say that I'm declaring my experiment of going to the allotment every day, well, for 4 days in a week. I'm declaring it a success, and I'm doing it again this week, so I'm just filming this little outro bit on Tuesday, and you'll probably see this video either later on today, on Tuesday, or possibly tomorrow on Wednesday. But yeah, so I've been twice this week as well, and I think this is good. I think this is good for me to get out of the house for an hour in the morning, get some fresh air and get myself, I don't know, almost like woken up ready for a day of work. So I'm self-employed, I work from home, I can be flexible enough to go, you know, and do something like that. I don't have children either, so I don't have a school run to take care of. And it's working so far, and I can really see the difference at the allotment, especially this week when I'm working on the flower bed at the front of the allotment. I can see it changing by day, and I get really excited when I think about what it's going to look like at the end of the week. So I'm declaring it a success. The only thing that will sort of change this new routine is some weeks or days it won't be the allotment, it will be the cottage garden out the back, or it will be the container garden. I need to sort my front garden out as well. So it's not always going to be the allotment, but definitely going to, you know, try and keep going with getting out for an hour in the morning to do some gardening. I'm going to leave it there because I can tell that I'm just waffling. I'm going to have my cup of tea. I'm going to sort out kind of adding this to the end of this video. Thank you so much if you've watched to the end. That's fantastic of you. I really appreciate it. I'll get this out to you as soon as possible, and then before you know it, you'll be ready for this week's allotment vlog, but next week. See you soon.